Imagine finding 3,000 pieces of art in your basement, and some of them considered priceless. That's basically what happened at the Cincinnati Art Museum, and Local 12's Josh Knight is there to show us what's been discovered and just how it happened. Josh, Sheila and I have decided we want to come over and just look around in the basement of the Art Museum and see what we can find.
I asked about that, actually. I was like, so am I allowed to take the camera down there? They told me that's pretty much off limits, and you can imagine why. They have 65,000 pieces of art here, and that's in this entire building. A lot of that is in the basement. They can't display it all at one time. A lot of that art was gathered in the late 1800s, so because of that, some of it wasn't documented exactly or registered with all the facts about how it got there, who brought it in. So with that, a lot of the pieces of art, they didn't know exactly how important they were. That was up until about a decade ago. Now we have the Masterpieces of Japanese Art exhibit. Since the museum hired Homei Sung around 13 years ago as the Asian art curator, she's been going through about 3,000 pieces of what turned out to be Japanese art. She says each of them tell a very interesting story about the specific relationship between Japan and Cincinnati, dating back to around the late 1800s. That's when this term Japanese mania was going on, and that's when a lot of European culture and other Western cultures were very, very interested in what was going on in Japan. This suit of armor you see here, I think, is one of the most neat stories. It was sold to the museum to pay medical school tuition for two young Japanese women brought to Cincinnati by Adeline Kelsey, and she was a pioneering woman doctor. Cincinnati had one of the only medical schools that accepted female students at the time, so this is where they came.
Preparing this show is so interesting, exciting. I'm constantly discovering new stories. There are so many objects. Each object almost tells a different story.
Another one of the things in here, a painted screen. It's one of the only works done by a female artist from Japan, and it was in the basement just waiting to be uncovered by Homei. So some very neat stuff in that. Relationship with Japan continues today. In Cincinnati, there's more than 120 Japanese-based businesses here, so that continues to thrive, and Homei will actually be speaking tonight at the museum, and that will be for the Japan America Society's annual dinner that they'll be having. So she'll be talking about the art and that continuing thriving relationship between Japan and Cincinnati. Bob?
I just think it's a great story, Josh, and I know it's 100% true, or else the nose on the Pinocchio of your left shoulder would be growing.
That's right.
Thanks, buddy. That's really great stuff. The exhibit only shows 100 pieces of the 3,000 in its collection. The display will be up through the end of August. And remember, entrance to the museum, it's free.